realizing how incredibly fragile our lives are, realizing how delicate our lives are, realizing how any time our lives can be snuffed away. We need to seek a refuge. We need to seek a refuge, a place of refuge, an object of refuge that is beyond us. We can't seek refuge in an angry God, in a vengeful God, or in a God that tells us not to respect other people. We cannot take refuge in a God that tells us we cannot accept other religions and other races and other styles and other cultures. We cannot take refuge in such a God. I'm not going to take refuge in a God that is vengeful and angry and that restricts me from helping others because of religion or color or race. That's wrong. So we're going to take a refuge in something that's beyond a God or gods, and that is a fully enlightened Buddha. A fully enlightened Buddha has no anger, has no jealousy, has no defilements, has zero delusions and projections, and they solely work to benefit others without any expectation or agenda, because they have meditated and removed all causes of defilements. And that can be only a fully enlightened Buddha, for example, Lama Tsongkhapa. When we take refuge in someone like Lama Tsongkhapa, we are taking refuge on two ways. We are taking refuge in an outer being who inspires us to become like them, Shakyamuni Tsongkhapa. We are taking refuge in an outer being who tells us it's possible, that lets us know it is definitely possible. And that inspires us to take refuge in the inner being, in ourselves. How do we take refuge in ourselves? By not lying, by keeping our samayas clean, by working for others, by generating forgiveness, by having no animosity with an agenda. Like a mother who scolds a child out of pure love. A mother who scolds a child out of pure love is not negative karma, it's pure love. So wrathful means can be employed if we have that kind of motivation. And when we work for others and benefit others, that is refuge in ourselves. Why is that refuge in ourselves? Because we open up something that we all have. Kindness, goodness, clear mind, generosity, forgiveness, patience. We have that in all of us. That's why that generosity, kindness, love is called the Buddha nature. The real reason for having devotion to our teacher, the real reason is to develop humility. When we develop humility and the humility is developed, knowledge goes in. When knowledge goes in, practice arises. When practice arises, attainments come forth. When you gain attainments, you gain control over your whole life, your future lives. So therefore, we should never say negative things about our teacher behind or in front or infer. Most important is to keep the samaya between our teacher and us very clean. Let me find a time when I'm ready. But that's wrong view. Why? People who wait till they're ready will never be ready. Do you know why? People who wait for when they're ready will never be ready because they create the causes not to be ready by not creating the causes to do it now. If you do the work now, if you do the practice now, you create the causes to be even more and more and more and more ready. If you go away now, if you don't do the practice now, if you say wait for a good time later, the good time later never arises. Why doesn't the good time arise? Cause resembles effect. So if you plant an apple tree and you hope that oranges will grow, illogical. So therefore, if we say, I'm not ready for Dharma now, I'm not ready to do Dharma now, I'm not ready to do it now, actually it's wrong view. Why? Buddha never said, Tsongkhapa never said, you do Dharma when you're ready. Tsongkhapa says, if you're in samsara, you are ready. If you're subject to birth, death, old age, and sickness, you are ready. If you fall within the parameters of the Four Noble Truths, you are ready. So when are you ready for Dharma? If you're in samsara, if you fall within the Four Noble Truths, if you are subject to birth, death, old age, and decay, then you are more than ready for the Dharma. When we die, I think the biggest regret and the thing that makes people bitter, that makes people older bitter, younger bitter, or anyone bitter and unhappy and very unsatisfied and unsettled is a sense that your life was worth nothing, that your life was amounted to nothing, that your life gave nothing, that your life wasn't worth anything to anyone else, that you affected nobody. So I think the thing that makes people the most unhappy, and the thing that makes the people most sad, and the thing that makes the people most angry is when they know that they've lived their life just taking care of themselves, just being selfish, just eating and sleeping, and just having kids or having a few dogs, and then just having a car and house, and then everybody has flashed in their mind. Is this all? Is that all I've done in my life? Everybody's an ant, a bee can make a house, a bird can make a nest and feed a young. What have I done? So the biggest thing that really bothers people is when they look back in their life and they say, what did I do for anyone? And your kids and husband and wives don't count. Your partners don't count. What did I do for anyone? How did I live my life? And you know, that's what really bothers people a lot. And we should instill our children and young people with a higher thought, the thought of benefiting society, the thought of helping others, the benefit of working and taking time out for others. You know why? Because when they get older, they'll be happier people, not so bitter. Less crime, less divorce, less separation, less fighting. If you live for yourself, you will be unhappy. You will be angry. You will make people around you angry. You will always make yourself unhappy. Let me tell you why. Because you're angry with yourself. Because you hate yourself. Because you hate what you've become, what you've been doing, what you're becoming, and where you're going. You hate yourself. And you know what? It doesn't go away by keeping quiet. It doesn't go away by hiding. It does not go away if you just avoid it. It gets bigger. And this hatred for ourselves is the cause of our anger. And this hatred for ourselves comes from doing nothing for others. And you know what? Making a lot of money gives you temporary happiness, but it's not really it. That's why when people join the Dharma Center, or a church, or a synagogue, or a mosque, or a Sikh temple, it doesn't matter. And they're doing a great job, and they help dogs, they help the animal shelter, they help the sick, they help the elderly, and they give and they donate. They feel really good. Do you know why? Because when they do something good for others, their anger calms down. Do you know why their anger calms down? Their anger calms down is because they start to feel self-worth. We're all together because of one reason: charity, generosity. Generosity and charity. And therefore, give back.